All right. Well, welcome back. It's me again. And as promised, I said I would make a proper video. I don't know if this qualifies, but I made my way down to the creek here and just below my campsite. My campsite, if I turn this way, is up on that ledge there, that ridge, which you can't see from here. I thought I would come down here because there's a lot more cars than I expected on that little road, and I found out the reason why. Somebody stopped by here in the Ozarks and asked me some directions. Of course, I had to tell them I didn't know where I was either, but apparently down about a mile down, half a mile down this little road, the road got washed out, and you can hear the water. Maybe not, but just back this way, this little creek meets with a pretty good river, and it's raging pretty good. And so apparently there was there was some good storming and washed it out. But anyway, I was wanting just to fill you in again on some of the details of today. I mentioned in my first video, just a little brief video I did when I just rolled into the camp. This is really the first full day of my sabbatical. I am taking the only sabbatical I'll probably ever take. I've worked 15 years in the current conference that I'm a pastor in, and that gave me, I guess, made me eligible for a sabbatical. So I'm taking 8 weeks, and this is Memorial Day, May 25. Normally I'd be in my first full weekday of camp meeting, and so this is a little unusual because of the COVID-19. But anyway, here I am. I'm making my way on my motorcycle across the country. My goal is to hit as many of the major national parks as I can. I've been to a few national parks, but not nearly as much as I would like. So this is my opportunity here to reconnect with nature. It's a solo motorcycle tour, and I know I'll get lonely. I know that I'll miss my family and my friends and my community, but I think there's something of value to just reconnect with your own, I guess, your own voice, and just spend time alone, spend time maybe reconnecting with the Lord, and that's my goal anyway. And I find there's nothing better than nature to do that. And my plan is to spend not just time in the national parks, but I'm also going to spend time in as many of the national forests as I can between here and there, because in the national forests you can camp for free. Those lands belong to us, and our tax money pays for it, so I'm going to take full advantage. So I'm on federal lands here in the Ozarks, and so can camp for free. And the ride in, like I mentioned earlier, was really uneventful in the sense that you know, the motorcycle ran fine. There was not a lot of heavy traffic. A little bit boring on the first, coming out of Memphis across the first part of Arkansas, a little bit flat. A lot of farmland, beautiful, but quite different from Tennessee. I could almost tell a difference right away when I left when I got over the river there, Mississippi River, and felt like I was in a different state for sure. And but boy, when I rolled into the Ozark Mountains, you could see them off in the distance there, and they're pretty striking. I'm impressed. I'll be back. This is some good motorcycling, and the people seem nice. The few that I've talked to, but you know, just beautiful winding roads, and I had a good time with that. You know, I'm not sure how I'm going to format these videos. Mainly I just want a record of this. Like I said, I didn't bring my GoPro. I might buy one on the way out, just so I have some of the pictures of the actual scenery as I'm on my motorcycle. It was so beautiful riding in here, and I didn't want to stop every time there was a scenic view to take a picture. I would never get here. I'm sure I'll do some of that when I get out west and it's some really grand scenery. But today, you know, I didn't feel like I needed to do that. But let me tell you one little story, and then I'll finish with this one. I was riding on the I think it was State Road, U.S. Road 64, I think. I might be wrong on that number, but State Road, excuse me, I keep saying State Road, the National Road, U.S. Road leading from Memphis to where I'm at now, towards Little Rock. There was these long stretches of straight road, and so I could see way in the distance. There was nobody in front of me. I had the road to myself, but I could see that there was a freight train passing. At least it looked like it was going to be passing the road. I wasn't sure, but I could see it, in the distance. You could see how long it is, and I saw it, kind of winding its way. And sure enough, I got closer, and it was intersecting there the U.S. road that I was on. And there was one car stopped at the cross, I don't even know what they call the crossing gate there that keep you from crossing. The lights are flashing. You can hear the bell ringing for warning the cars. And there was another car on a side road waiting to come on, and I rolled up, and it was just, I could really feel that train. It was a heavy train, obviously, but there was just something about the way the acoustics were right at that little intersection. It just rumbling, you could hear it, and it seemed like it was shaking the whole ground. And I rolled up on my motorcycle just as the last 3 or 4 cars came over, and so I tried to time it so that I wouldn't have to come to a stop. When you're a motorcycle rider, you prefer not to come to a complete stop, and you got to put your foot down and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted just to keep rolling, so I slowed down, and I started to time it behind the guy in front of me, waiting for those gates to lift up. Well, sure enough, the gates lifted up, and just as he left, I started to let off my clutch and started to go. And the car on this side street, he came across right behind me to go the other direction. So there's all this activity, this big train, the car in front of me leaving, the gate coming up, me coming on my motorcycle, and that car behind me, all sort of converging on this one spot. Big deal, right? Well, what was interesting, at least I thought it was interesting, just as I was ready to fully release my clutch and go, I just happened to glance down, and there was this tiny, literally tiny little turtle on the road, just walking real slow, but he was tiny. Really like the size of maybe a little larger than a silver dollar. Just, at least that's what it seemed, just a tiny little, like a baby turtle maybe, I don't know, but a little tiny thing, delicate, and for some reason it was so interesting, because it was this tiny little creature just about a foot away from my tires, and the car in front of me had not hit him. The car behind me was going the other way, and then there was this big, huge freight train that just such power, this awesome, thundering steel beast roaring through there. And here's this tiny little turtle, and I don't know, it kind of made me think, when you're on your motorcycle, you have time to just think. And as I left there, I just kept thinking about that tiny little creature right next to all that man-made, death, really. They could have been crushed by any of those things, and yet it was just, hopefully it made it across. But, it just seems so fragile. And of course, you know how I am. I couldn't help but think of myself and how fragile really we all are. How fragile I am, and here I am on my motorcycle. I've got my own little shell over my head. But that little shell would be just as valuable to me as that little shell would have been to the turtle if I get hit by a car, or God forbid a train, Very fragile. And it made me just, offer a prayer on that ride there. Keep me safe, because I'm kind of out here on this journey, very fragile, and I love it. That's part of the experience for me. It's part of what I want to be reconnected with. This idea that maybe, just maybe, I need to learn to just not try to control everything, and just be a little bit. Recognize that I'm just a fragile creature, and I've got to depend on the Lord and my God to take care of me, and go about my daily journey one little step at a time, just like that little turtle, with all the dangers around me. I don't know, strange thought, I know, but that was the striking picture of my trip today, getting out here, the 450 odd miles that I rode today. I don't know, maybe that's not right. I'd have to think about that mileage. Either way, it was half my day on the motorcycle, and stunning scenery and that little turtle is what stands out in my mind. But anyway, glad you could join me on this little video, and I'll keep checking in. Like I said, I want to try to, you know, put as much of this on film as I can, or on camera as I can. You know, when you travel alone, you don't get to share these things with people, and you tend to forget them. I've learned that because I've done a lot of backpacking by myself, and since there's no one to share it with, it's easy for those memories just to kind of fade away. So this is a way, I'm talking to you when I get lonely or whatever, is a way to reinforce these pictures and these images that I'm seeing, and I can look back at them later, of course, and maybe remember some of these little details that surely I would forget. So thanks for joining me. Have a great day.